Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving this, the Hyundai Santro. This is the Xing model. Now of course I have already reviewed the Santro, not the latest one, that also I've reviewed, but I've also reviewed the older Santro. You can click here. Meanwhile, this is the engine bay, very compact engine bay, small engine here, no insulation, which is actually a nice thing. You get chrome at the front, beautiful lights. I say beautiful because it makes it look quirky, and somehow quirky always works for me, I don't know why. And there are fog lamp housing here in the bumper, but there is no fog light here on this particular car. Bumper protector here as well, and single nozzle for the washer fluid. Meanwhile, on the side you can see lot of black colored stuff, but the wheels, well, they are actually small wheels, 155/70 13s, no alloys here. Santro never came with alloy wheels as standard. It did come with wheel caps though, and you get an indicator here. So the door handles, the side molding as well as the mirror is finished in black. This is the antenna, manually adjustable. Car looks nice actually. Yeah, it's actually compact, small, doesn't have to be too big because it's obviously a very zippy car to drive. And here from the rear you can see the rear wiper has actually fallen down, unfortunately. Meanwhile, let's open the boot right away. So this is the boot of the vehicle, and as you can see, yeah, it's decent size. Placement for speakers here, and below here you get the spare wheel, which is not an alloy because the standard wheels are also not an alloy on this car. So yeah, it cannot be. You get a parcel shelf here as well. So actually feels quite solid comparatively, because weight saving wasn't the mantra at that time when this car was launched. No door pockets at the rear. The rear seat is decently comfortable. There's good amount of headroom in this car, whether you're sitting behind or you're sitting at the front. Good amount of headroom. Under the support is also quite decent because the seat is actually long. There is not much knee room and leg room as such, but the floor is almost flat. 3 people can sit in, but the cabin isn't wide enough. And no adjustable headrest. No headrest for the middle passenger here. Parcel shelf is deep. You can keep a lot of stuff here. Seatbelt has this clip here so that it doesn't dangle around. And there's a handle here. There's a handle here. Roof is like having these dots, which might remind you of Rolls Royce. I'm just kidding. And you don't get a scooped out seat back, but because of the seat covers, you obviously get magazine holders here. You can keep a lot of stuff here as well, but not much adventure here in the rear seat. So let's quickly get inside in the front and let's talk about that. Now the front door does get door pockets, which are actually slim. Power window controls here, and the rear doesn't get power windows, but there's a slot here to keep stuff. Speaker placement here, headlight leveler here, air conditioning. This is to adjust the outside rear view mirror, so internally adjustable rear view mirror. And over here you have a glove box, which is actually decent size as well. Twin cup holders here. These are the controls for the rear power windows. Meanwhile, for the rear passengers, you can control the power windows from here. They're not on the door, so it's like an aftermarket thought. No auto dimming inside rear view mirror, but there's a light placed here. Oh, unfortunately this thing has fallen off right now. I didn't use it properly. Anyways, let me turn that off. Yeah, I managed to fix that. Anyways, you get a mirror here. There's no mirror here obviously, but there's place to put toll receipts and whatnot. Now this is the center console. Again, quirky, I like it. I think this is for 12-volt charging socket, which is not there in this car. This is for the air conditioning. This is an aftermarket audio system. This is the hazard light switch. This is the rear defogger, and there are a lot of dummy buttons placed here. Now this is the child lock button, and there's a cubby hole here for coins. This is the handbrake. This is the gear lever, and there's another cubby hole here to keep stuff. Now this is obviously for the headlight. This is for the wiper. Let's turn on the vehicle right away. And there it rose to life. Air conditioning on full blast. Console looks nice actually, very basic. No tachometer on offer. On the leftmost we've got the temperature meter, on the rightmost we've got the fuel meter, in the center we've got the speedometer along with an odometer and a trip meter below that. And there is the parking brake light. So telltale lights are placed here, indicator lights are placed there, just to tell you the indicators on or not. The horn is nice. The steering is actually quite big here in this vehicle, and it gets this aftermarket steering cover as well. This tortoise is moving all the time. I don't know what is he saying. Meanwhile, obviously the front seats are quite comfortable, but I have to really appreciate the headroom on offer. There's so much headroom on offer, and because this car has a lot of glass area, it feels very airy all the time. This is to lock the door, so there's no dedicated button to lock or unlock the door as such. Meanwhile, you can see there's a gap here and there's a dead pedal here, and you know what, the front cabin isn't that wide enough because the seats are actually closed. So if you're a bit healthy, your shoulders might rub with each other, but that's completely fine because you're in a Santro, and the car is a very emotional car for a lot of people in the Indian market, because obviously it put a lot of them into driving as well. This is an ashtray here. Let's quickly get driving right away, but before that let's use the front wipers. And that might be one nozzle at the front, but it throws out 2 streams of spray, and the wipers are making a little bit of noise, I believe. However, the wipers work decently well. Let's get driving right away. Alright, we are all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, getting into first gear, handbrake down, revving the motor, and off we go. Wheel spin, quite a lot of it, and running into red line. 40 km/h in first gear, now into second gear. goes all the way to almost 75 kilometers per hour. Now this is the Santro Xing, which was the last of the old Santro before the new one came along just recently, and as you can see, performance is pretty good. It is very peppy. This car offers great performance, and of course the steering is on the heavier side because it's a hydraulic steering, which means that in order to make turns, especially U-turns, you have to take some effort. Yes, the motor is vocal, but in a good way, changing directions. Yeah, it's not very stable as such because yes, it does move around a bit, but overall I would say that the car is actually quite fun to drive in the city because it's so easy to flick it right, left and center. That is certainly a good thing about the Santro. As I get into the throttle now in 5th gear, you notice that progress might be slow, but eventually it gets going because this is a 1.1 liter engine. It produces around 70 horsepower, around 65 actually to be honest, and overall performance is great. Motor is a little bit vocal. At high speeds it doesn't really remain glued to the road because it does waver around a bit, but the ride quality is good. The handling is decent, body roll is very well contained for the most part, and the steering is on the heavier side. It weighs up decently well, but you can feel the lightness most of the times. That it does feel light, but that lightness is actually a big boon when riding in the city, because in the city this car is known as the sunshine car because of it is bright obviously, and it is so easy to twirl the steering and park it as well because the dimensions are very compact of this vehicle. Now this car has done just 38,000 kilometers in around 11 years, which is nothing at all. It has been hardly run actually. So every time I get into the gas, there is some hesitation, especially at high speed. This is not a highway car, but in the city definitely it feels punchy lower down, and it likes to rev, although unfortunately there was never a tachometer on offer in the old Santro, so you had to just rely on the rev limiter kicking in to know, okay, now you have hit the max revs, which I believe to be around 6,500 RPM on this car. Brakes offer good stopping power, but a little soft and soggy I would say for the most part, and when you get heavy on the brakes you realize there is nosedive as well, expectedly. Now here we are coming to a stop, into 1st gear, revving the motor, and off we go. I love old cars because they wheel spin like crazy, like nobody's business. That's the level of wheel spin on offer, and tires offer decent grip as well. Meanwhile, the gearbox is actually slick shifting, and every time you go through a gear, because the slickness is there. The clutch is also on the lighter side, and there we are going to have a slalom test of sorts. Actually, the car is pretty nimble, pretty agile, and talking about agility and being nimble, well, let's do that here. Now we are into 2nd gear. Just check this out, okay? It is such a delight to drive it in the city. Get into the gas in 2nd gear. The pull is nice and strong, but I'm sure you guys can hear the motor because it is a vocal car, which is actually a good thing because I like cars which make sounds. Absolutely, you should know which gear you are in, how much revs you're feeling. So that soul which was there in the old Santro has kind of gone missing in the newer one, because every time you drive the old car you realize that okay, you're driving something robust, you're driving something which feels so mechanically connected to you, because everything has a touch and feel. Even though Hyundai cars are known for lightness, the older one especially, this one is actually quite good. Here we are on the brakes, decent enough I would say for the most part. Taking a U-turn, steering is like really very nice for city speeds. Here we are into 1st gear, revving the motor, and off we go. Wheel spin is massive, and you have to have a tachometer in a car, otherwise you get into the red line. Even with so much experience, you still cannot predict when you're going to hit the red line at all. It reaches 100 kilometers per hour in 3rd gear itself. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour I believe takes around 16 seconds, which is decently quick, not the fastest around. But I love the feel of the Santro because the old one was the genuine one because of the tall boy design, and of course the quirky design elements on the dashboard, which is obviously there in the new one as well. But somehow the old car drives so much better than the new one, although the new one is more polished. Here we are. It just goes so fluidly well. Definitely a very good car for city driving. Now, when the Santro was launched back in 1998, that was Hyundai's first car for India. It was their launch car. It obviously did very well and launched Hyundai into the Indian market. And the Xing was like the last hurrah, I believe, because they came up with the Zip Drive, Zip Plus, and then the Xing, which came with the updated design and all that stuff. Definitely a great car, and throughout the life of the Santro, they maintained the quirky bits of the car, the old Santro that is. With the new one, I mean, I don't want to get into the new one. The new one's also very nice, but the old one has that soul. So all you guys having a Santro, well, give yourself a pat on the back for having the car still, because it's genuinely something different. It's a different breed altogether. So much fun, so different, so unique, so quirky, and I don't know how all these elements come together to make a brilliant package. Yes, certain things could have been better, like a tachometer is a must-have in any car. I don't know why Hyundai never offered it on one, but here we are. Again, we're going to launch the car. I'm going to get into first gear. We are into first gear, and because of lack of a tachometer, I don't know how many RPM we're going to rev till. Here we are, revving the motor, and off we go. That's the level of wheel spin on offer. It just loves to spin its wheels. Okay, the fuel economy is around 12 to 13 kilometers per liter, which might not be the best when you compare it to cars from Maruti Suzuki stable, but the Santro has some heft. Comparatively, it does weigh up a fair bit, and yeah, but it still feels light at high speeds. Not really very stable as such, but this car is in such immaculate condition. It drives so well. Mechanically, it feels really very strong, and I would definitely give a big thumbs up to the car as well as the owner for keeping this car in such a pristine condition. Great job, great car, and a car which actually put many Indians on the roads in terms of driving. So that is the Santro for you, and that tortoise or whatever that is, he's nodding in belief. Well, I think he also agrees that the car is great and it's a lot of fun as well. So guys, this is my review of the Hyundai Santro Xing, the original Santro, the fun Santro, the Santro with a soul. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's a like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will apply brakes, get into third gear, and rev the motor again, because every time you get onto the gas, it makes you believe you're going faster than you actually are, because the motor makes this sound, it makes this noise, it feels heavy, it feels robust, it feels punchy, and then it pulls hard and strong. What a feel, what a car. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up as well. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye.